Now let's begin in Rivers State, where palpable tensions have enveloped Rivers State as youth groups under the auspices of the Niger Delta Youth Council threaten to shut down oil production across the region over the raging political impasse in Rivers. The youth groups issued a 7-day ultimatum to President Bola Tinubu, demanding, among other things, the immediate restoration of Rivers State's statutory revenue allocation, the end of every impeachment plot against the Rivers State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara, and the public retraction of anti-Ijaw remarks purportedly attributed to the former governor of the state, Nyesom Wike. The group stated in an open letter to the president signed by the NDYC president, Bene Yokore Mamamu, that failure to comply could lead to a total shutdown of oil production across the region. In the meantime, a civic reception was held in Kalabari land, a stronghold of the Ijaws in Rivers State, to honor the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike. The reception came 3 days after the minister in a press conference spoke derogatorily about the Ijaws. Meanwhile, the Ijaw Youth Council Eastern Zone fixed a congress for same day and venue in protest against the minister. For more on this, we're joined by our correspondent, Biola Festus. Hello, Biola. What can you tell us about the perception of for FCT Minister Nyesom Wike and what the Eastern Zone of the Ijaw Youth Council are up to? All right, we'll try to reconnect with Biola. Now let's head to Kano State, where the state government has clarified that the Court of Appeal did not overturn its earlier ruling recognizing Muhammadu Sanusi as the 16th Emir of Kano. Now, the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Haruna Dederi, addressed the matter, dispelling speculation surrounding the recent stay of execution granted by the Court of Appeal. Dederi explained that Babadang Agundi, a party in the case who was dissatisfied with the court's ruling, had applied for a stay of execution pending the outcome of the Supreme Court's decision. The Court of Appeal granted this request but did not nullify its previous judgment. He emphasized that the appellate court merely ordered the maintenance of the status quo and did not set aside its ruling. In the same vein, despite the Kano State government's insistence that the appeal court did not nullify Sanusi's reinstatement as Emir of Kano, the camp of deposed Ado Bayero, led by Aminu Baba Agundi, said their principal remains the authentic Emir of Kano pending the judgment of the apex court. Speaking to journalists in Kano, Baba Agundi called on the general public to discountenance the comments by the Kano State Attorney General and wait for the Supreme Court's judgment. Also addressing journalists in Kano shortly after the ruling, Haruna Dederi, the state's Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, said the ruling does not invalidate the reinstatement of Lami Sanusi as the 16th Emir of Kano. In a ruling delivered on Friday, the appeal court temporarily held off on enforcing its own judgment, overturning a ruling of the Federal High Court invalidating the Kano State government's repeal of the 2019 Emirate Council law. To security matters, in a significant blow to criminal networks, the Nigerian Air Force has launched a successful airstrike in Katsina State, neutralizing more than 20 bandits. The operation, carried out on 13 March 2025 by the air component of Operation Fansan Yamma, targeted the fortified camps of notorious bandit leaders Gero and Alhaji Riga in the Unguwar Goga Hillforest, Ruwan Godiya Ward, Faskari Local Government Area. A statement from the Nigerian Air Force confirmed that the precision strikes, based on actionable intelligence, inflicted heavy losses on the bandit network. Other casualties were reported in the surrounding rocky hills. Gero and Riga were key figures in the region's banditry, providing safe havens for terrorist elements responsible for deadly ambushes along the Funtua-Gusau Road. Now, this latest strike is seen as a major step in the ongoing military campaign to restore peace and stability in the northwest region. Amidst growing security concerns, the Borno State government has provided new operational vehicles to police, military, and other security agencies to combat the resurgence of attacks in rural areas. Now, the development comes as the Inspector General of Police visits Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, to assess the security situation. News Central's Umari Kirawa has the details.
Recent security incidents, including targeted attacks on rural communities and highways in northeast Nigeria, have heightened concerns. Inspector General of Police, accompanied by senior officers, visited Maiduguri to meet with the state governor and discuss ways to enhance security operations.
We are gathered here to present 110 operational vehicles, 500 motorcycles to security agencies in Borno State. Out of these 110 vehicles, 60 will be given to the Nigerian Police Force, while 50 will be given to the Nigerian military, plus 500 motorcycles.
These operational assets are going to be put into immediate operational use for the enhancement of security and safety of the people of Borno State. Your support is a testament to the strong partnership that is existing between your government and the security agencies in this state. And I want to assure you that we are committed, strongly committed, to continue this partnership with you. And I thank you for all that you have done for the security agencies in the past, and we are not going to disappoint you.
The newly acquired vehicles are expected to improve the mobility and effectiveness of security personnel in tackling the remnants of insurgents threatening the state. Officials emphasize the need for proactive measures to sustain peace across the country.
We will collectively aspire to achieve the strategic vision of the Inspector General of Police that the crime waves should be reduced to at least 50% in the year 2025.
We utilize this to ensure that we create the enabling environment for all other items of governance to thrive, especially the return of IDPs to their ancestral homes, which we are envisaging in the coming times.
The Borno State government has also provided 280 housing units for police officers to boost morale and support their role in maintaining peace. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Human rights activist Deji Adeonju has urged Nigerians to prioritize discussions on the proposed tax reform bill rather than getting distracted by ongoing controversies in the Senate. Speaking at a press briefing in Abuja, Adeonju criticized politicians for focusing on personal disputes while supporting policies that could negatively impact Nigerians. He described Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan's allegations of sexual harassment against President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, as mere distractions from important legislative issues of more concern to Nigerians.
The Senate President ought to have recused himself, sincerely recused himself from presiding over that matter. After all, it has happened in this country before, where Saraki, Saraki was accused of buying bulletproof vehicles. He recused himself and allowed the Deputy Senate President to preside over the plenary. And even though if they wanted to do the RNG, yes, if he had recused himself, they would still have gotten the same result. But it will look more tidy. Senator Natasha has made these allegations that the Senate President tried to sexually harass her. I also think that Senator Natasha should, as a matter of, since they have refused to give her fair hearing in the Senate, let her make public credible evidence to back up the claim. It's very easy. The man has said it is a lie. I did not do anything to her. So if there are messages, maybe, oh, please come over to so place, reveal them, expose the man. Do you understand? After all, he who alleges must prove. Why are you protecting the man? If it is true that, for instance, if somebody harasses me in this office, if the person harasses me and I try to get justice here and I'm not getting justice, let her bring forward the evidence. So that.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. In a major crackdown on international fraud, NAFDAC has exposed a sophisticated syndicate using fake documents to scam foreign companies. Director General of the agency, Professor Christiana Adeyeye, reveals the details of the high-level scandal. News Central correspondent Sumaya Abubakar has the details.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control says it uncovers a well-coordinated fraud targeting unsuspecting victims by individuals impersonating its officials.
It's a case of fraud and obtaining funds by impersonation as an official of NAFDAC.
The syndicate, operating from Aba, Abia State, used fake NAFDAC certificates and receipts to defraud companies from the UAE, China, Korea, Poland, and the UK. They lured victims with promises of registration, then introduced them to fake lawyers for exorbitant fees.
Our investigation revealed that the group operates 15 domiciliary and 5 local accounts in 7 Nigerian banks. The account in one of the banks has a BVN that is being used by the 2 key members of the group, Ikoro Ifendu and Rosemary Obosi. The exact number of the accounts have not been established because the suspects had deleted some of the accounts and the alert messages. The tentative cumulative inflow from different victims into the domiciliary accounts in Nigeria is estimated to be $950,000, while the sum of $450,000 is the estimated inflow into the accounts held offshore in Cotonou, Benin Republic.
NAFDAC is handing the fraud case over to the EFCC, signaling a broader investigation. In a separate operation, NAFDAC's ongoing investigations conducted at 3 open markets in Aba, Onitsha, and Idumota have uncovered the alarming presence of narcotics and a range of counterfeit drugs.
What we have found could reduce quality of life for millions of Nigerians. If you have diabetes, if you have hypertension, which need daily treatment, such people could die easily with what we have found.
The agency warns perpetrators of these nefarious activities to desist forthwith.
These are vaccines. Vaccines are supposed to be kept in the refrigerator or in the freezer.
In Lagos, for News Central, Sumaya Abubakar.
Despite the Kano State government's insistence that the appeal court did not nullify Sanusi's reinstatement as Emir of Kano, the camp of deposed Adobaero, led by Aminu Baba Agudi, said their principal remains the authentic Emir of Kano, pending the judgment of the Apex Court.
The respected panel of justices heard and granted the application for stay pending the hearing and determination of the existing appeal before the Supreme Court. This is normal and usual routine because it happens when any party wishes to maintain the status quo in a given matter pending the determination of a substantive appeal. It is, however, worrisome seeing the various captions and headlines deliberately intended to mislead the general public by misrepresenting the facts. We hereby use this medium to call upon those involved in these negative and destructive misrepresentations to desist from interfering in judicial processes. The judiciary, as a sacred institution, must be jealously respected and guarded for the preservation of peace and orderliness of society.
An injunction is hereby granted, restraining the respondents herein name either themselves, their agent, previous servants, or personal representatives from imposing the judgment of this court. And they cited the number of the case. CNKN 126-2024, Kano State House of Assembly, and versus Alhaji Aminu Babadang Awindi and others. So I heard people saying it is only Aminu Babadang Awindi that went to court. I went to court on behalf of myself and the 5 emirs in Kano, which include His Royal Highness Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero, the Emir of Kano.
Now we move to health, where the World Health Organization has donated essential medical equipment and supplies to the Borno State government to strengthen healthcare services. News Central's Umari Kirawa reports that the donation includes disinfectants, referral slips, mattresses, detergents, and medical furniture, among others. While handing over the equipment to the World Health Organization's representatives, Dr. Kumshida Balami said the donation aims to improve access to quality health care, particularly for vulnerable women and children in Borno State.
On behalf of the entire WHO, this particular funding, we got it from the contingency fund for emergency that was mobilized by the WHO regional office in Dakar for Sahel countries who are devastated by insurgency. So we believe that these essential commodities, the infection prevention control guidelines, of course the nutrition supplies and the IEC materials will serve to help in promoting and sensitizing education for the treatment and prevention of malnutrition and common childhood illnesses.
On that note, I want to appreciate WHO once again, and that I want to assure WHO that under the leadership of His Excellency, Dr. Babagana Omarazulo, all items that are donated are judiciously used. And they reach all even the hard-to-reach areas. As we are here in these premises, the Drugs and Medical Supply Agency is assiduously working hard to ensure the last mile delivery of items, especially including drugs. And these are some of the components, equipment that are necessary.
Away from health, for years, the lack of accurate data collection has been a major challenge across many African countries, affecting research development and policy making. Experts believe artificial intelligence could change this if the right AI tools are developed to fit Africa's unique needs. At this year's Lagos Open Data Day, stakeholders and tech experts gathered to discuss how homegrown AI solutions could be the key to solving Africa's data gaps. News Central's Bernard Akede reports.
I was in one of the states in Nigeria where the government had declared free basic education. And as beautiful as that may look, to say that is a good thing, but the state soon realized that they have created more problems than solutions.
111. Across Africa, inadequate data collection has long been a barrier to effective planning and development. But with the rise of artificial intelligence, experts say this challenge could soon be overcome if the technology is developed indigenously. At the Lagos Open Data Day, stakeholders explored the need for AI tools specifically designed to address Africa's data challenges.
Quite a number of AI tools now everywhere, but the advantage of an homegrown tool like Bimi that we launched today is that it can answer our requests more accurately. Right? I mean, we have tested some other AI platform where we ask for revenue of a particular state in Nigeria, and you will see generalization using maybe extrapolation from maybe GDP to be able to get what a revenue of a particular state would be. But with BIMI, that will not be the case.
You can use computers.
AI tools have come to stay, and they no doubt make work and life easier. However, building of AI tools in this part of the world come with challenges.
Building AI is not just like every tech tool out there. AI is very, very expensive to build. First, the cost is a whole lot. Then when we look at the frameworks, they are not clear frameworks that helps the ethics of AI in Nigeria. So we also try to narrow our tool to ensure that it is limited to the kind of stuff that we do.
Data is garbage in, garbage out.
While there is growing enthusiasm about building homegrown AI solutions, experts warn that proper regulations must be put in place to ensure responsible use and implementation.
The only issue that we are going to suffer in terms of AI is if we do not have a policy that guides the functionality of AI in Nigeria. As it stands now, we do not have like a strategy that we are using. It is still something that is still being built in the works, it's in the pipeline.
I'm not sure we can overflood it.
The hope is that with more African-built AI solutions, data collection will become more efficient and accurate, paving the way for better governance, research, and economic growth. In Lagos for News Central, Bernard Akede.
All is now set for the annual Independent Award ceremony to celebrate distinguished men, women, and institutions that made the year 2024 remarkable in their various spheres. The nominations, which were determined by the Independent Board of Editors, took cognizance of the verifiable achievements of the awardees in line with the theme of this year's edition, celebrating landmark accomplishments. Governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, will receive the flagship Man of the Year award for the priority and sustained attention given by his administration to multi-sectoral investments in infrastructure across the state in education, health, road, and the all-important agricultural sector. Other governors who will be recognized for providing impactful leadership include Governor of Nasarawa, Abdullahi Saleh, for the Governor of the Year, Solid Minerals Development. The Independent Newspapers Award for Development in the Healthcare Sector goes to Governor of Delta State, Sheriff Owoyewori, while Governor of Cross River State, Basio II, receives the award of Governor of the Year 2024 for Economic Transformation. Governor Usman Ododo of Kogi State will also be recognized for his efforts to enhance national food security. Welcome back. Now, the South African government has expressed regret over the United States' decision to expel South African ambassador to the U.S., Ambassador Ibrahim Rasool, calling the move unfortunate. In a statement on Saturday, the South African presidency urged both nations to uphold diplomatic decorum amid rising tensions. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced Rasool's expulsion, accusing him of being a race-baiting politician and condemning his outspoken criticism of U.S. President Donald Trump. South Africa responded by reaffirming its commitment to maintaining strong bilateral ties despite the diplomatic rift. The expulsion follows a series of strained relations, including President Trump's decision in February to freeze U.S. aid to South Africa over concerns about a law allegedly facilitating land seizures from white farmers. As the Muslim community continues to celebrate the month of Ramadan, a month that brings a beautiful spirit of reflection, gratitude, and generosity to the forefront for many, Muslims in Midrand, Johannesburg are gathering to share iftar dinner with family and friends. The event is an opportunity to deepen bonds, strengthen friendships, and celebrate shared values as the community breaks their fast. News Central correspondent Bongani Siziba is at the event and has more. Hello Bongani, over to you.
That because of the vandalism that happened during the COVID pandemic, and because of years of...
Good evening, Dashen, and also good evening to our viewers. And you can see behind me the Minister of Transport, Baba Chris, is addressing people who are gathered here. We are at a mosque in Midrand, where they have invited not only the Muslim community, but also families, friends, and people around just to come and break bread together during this time of Ramadan. But let me not take much time and bring in one of the organizers just to tell us the importance of this event. Good evening, sir, and thank you for joining us, and thank you for the invite also. How important is this event today?
I think it is very important in our current times, where the separation of the different communities and different cultures, we are very fragmented. I think this kind of gatherings, we call it interfaith iftar gatherings. So we try to bring people from different religious background together, and we want to, build bridges through breaking bread.
But we can see it's not only Muslim who are around here. You have also invited Christians and also government officials. How important is it for Christians, Muslim to meet and break bread together?
Yeah, as I said, it's an interfaith gathering. It is not only Muslims and Christians. It is a Muslim tradition, but the essence of Islam is peace. So to keep peace, so you need people. It is not about only Muslims. So that's why we are inviting our friends from different religious background, different walks of life. As you see, we have people from different sectors, academics, media people, cultural leaders. And when we come together, I think it is the only way that we can create an harmonious society.
And also, this is one of some of the programs that you do. What are some of the programs that you also do for the communities during this time of Ramadan?
Ramadan is an important time for Muslims. As I said, breaking bread is an important occasion for us. And we also, in this venue and upstairs, if you see it, there are 300-400 people, we are giving food and they are breaking their fast. And we also go to different communities also. It is a time of giving for Muslims. So we are also trying our best, to uplift the community and help them in any way we can.
Thank you so much, sir. Dashen, that was one of the organizers speaking to us about this occasion today, showing love not only to the Muslim community, but to all South Africans, to families, to friends and everyone. But Dashen wouldn't want to miss the minister's speech, so it's now back to you in the studio.
Thank you so much, Bongani, for that. It is indeed an important occasion. We'll move on from that. Marine Le Pen, leader of France's far-right National Rally Party, arrived in N'Djamena, Chad's capital, on Friday evening for a diplomatic visit. She was received at the airport by the Minister of State and Special Advisor to the President. This marks Le Pen's second visit to Chad, following her 2017 meeting with the late President Idriss Déby in Amjaras. She is scheduled to travel to Amjaras for talks with President Mahamat Idris Itno as part of ongoing diplomatic engagements between France and Chad.
C'est un pays ami de la France et donc c'est toujours un plaisir pour moi de venir au Tchad pour prendre des nouvelles des amis et puis peut-être pour voir quelles sont demain les conditions pour retisser une relation en même temps amicale et utile pour nos deux pays, entre la France et le Tchad. Voilà, il peut y avoir entre pays amis parfois des frictions et il faut les dépasser. Vous savez que je suis venu il y a quelques années porter ici un discours qui est un discours un peu fondateur des relations que je pense que la France doit avoir et que je mettrai en œuvre si le peuple français me fait la confiance de m'élire présidente de la République.
Merci beaucoup.
In other news from around the world, there are indications that United States President Donald Trump is planning to impose a travel ban on at least 40 countries. A U.S. official, speaking on condition of anonymity, claims an internal memo issued on Saturday categorizes the affected countries into 3 separate groups. The first group consists of 10 countries, including Afghanistan, Iran, Syria, Cuba, and North Korea, which would face a full visa suspension. In the second group, 5 countries, Eritrea, Haiti, Laos, Myanmar, and South Sudan, would be subject to partial suspensions affecting tourist, student, and other immigrant visas, with some exceptions. The third group includes 26 countries, among them Belarus, Pakistan, and Turkmenistan, which risk a partial suspension of U.S. visa issuance if their governments fail to address identified deficiencies within 60 days. The source cautioned that the list is subject to change as it is yet to receive final approval from the administration, including U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Meanwhile, in a fiery speech at the Department of Justice, U.S. President Donald Trump intensified his attacks on media organizations critical of his administration, labeling their coverage as illegal and corrupt. Trump singled out CNN, MSNBC, and unnamed newspapers, accusing them of producing 97.6% bad coverage about him. He also claimed that these outlets act as political arms of the Democrat Party and insisted their reporting was unlawful. The president also suggested that media influence extends to the judiciary, alleging that coordinated coverage was shaping legal rulings. Meanwhile, his administration has restricted access to mainstream media while favoring right-wing outlets.
Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, and MSDNC, and the fake news CNN, and ABC, CBS, and NBC, and they'll write whatever they say. And what do you do to get rid of it? You convict Trump. All you have to do is be really tough on him and ultimately convict him, and they leave you alone. It's totally illegal what they do. I just hope you can all watch for it, but it's totally illegal.
Canada's newly sworn-in Prime Minister, Mark Carney, has taken a firm stance against U.S. President Donald Trump's repeated threats to annex Canada. Now, Carney, who succeeded Justin Trudeau as Canada's 24th Prime Minister, has identified tackling Trump's tariffs as a key priority for his administration. Amid escalating tensions and trade disputes with Washington, Carney expressed hope for future cooperation between both countries in advancing mutual interests. However, he described the Trump administration as Canada's greatest challenge in a generation, particularly criticizing the U.S. president's tariffs on Canadian goods. While Ottawa has already retaliated against these measures, Carney's government will focus on strengthening Canada's international alliances. Next week, he is scheduled to visit Paris and London to discuss trade and security.
Ever, in any way, shape, or form, be part of the United States. America is not Canada.
Allies, sir, do you want to?
I don't think we need. I don't think we need to hear it from. Nous sommes maîtres. We're masters in our home. We're in charge, and what you will see from this government is focusing on building here at home, building with different partners abroad. And that will reinforce the point. It's good. We're doing it for our own reasons, to be clear, for our own people, for the high-paying jobs. But eventually, the truth will out, and the Americans will understand as well.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has said that Russian President Vladimir Putin will sooner or later have to come to the table as he opened a virtual summit on Saturday aimed at rallying support for Ukraine. The talks, organized by Downing Street, seeks to encourage participating nations to join a coalition committed to safeguarding any eventual ceasefire in Ukraine. Addressing allies, Starmer outlined 3 key priorities, including strengthening Ukraine, ensuring a coalition is ready to uphold any agreement, and maintaining pressure on Russia. He also said President Vladimir Zelensky had demonstrated Ukraine's commitment to peace, having agreed to upheld 30-day ceasefire unconditionally.
President Zelensky, who's with us this morning, has shown once again that Ukraine is the party of peace, because he has agreed to and committed to a 30-day unconditional ceasefire. Now what we see, and this is centrepiece for our discussions today, is that Putin is the one trying to delay. And in a sense, and you all know this, if Putin is serious about peace, it's very simple. He has to stop his barbaric attacks on Ukraine and agree to a ceasefire. And the world is watching. And my feeling is that sooner or later he's going to have to come to the table and engage in serious discussion. But, and this is a big but for us this morning in our meeting, we can't sit back and simply wait for that to happen. We have to keep pushing ahead, pushing forward, and preparing for peace, and a peace that will be secure and that will last. And I think that means strengthening Ukraine so they can defend themselves, and strengthening obviously in terms of military capability, in terms of funding, in terms of the provision of further support from all of us to Ukraine. Secondly, being prepared to defend any deal ourselves through a coalition of the willing. We've begun that process, and this morning we can take it forward. And then thirdly, and really importantly, given the developments of the last few days, to keep the pressure on Putin to come to the table.
In business, as the world celebrates World Consumer Day, themed A Just Transition to Sustainable Lifestyles, the brand journalists of Nigeria are urging the nation to embrace clean and sustainable living. Nigeria, as major oil-producing nation, has suffered several environmental setbacks as a result of carbon emissions and land pollution. According to News Central business correspondent Chamun Dabeng, the group is asking Nigerians to play their part in their own little way to preserve the land. The report.
We need to create more awareness on the global topic of sustainable living and embracing clean energy, as carbon emissions can lead to climate change, severe storms, drought, agricultural decline, and health challenges amongst the populace.
It's not about, it's not what government can do alone. It's about, you can see that what we did today was to assemble those in the private sector to drive this agenda. And because they are the ones that will really create this awareness among themselves and among the public to ensure that the actions are in consonance with the environment. What we need is awareness, because somebody somewhere is doing something and does not know the effect of what he's doing.
Sustainable living is more than just adopting clean energy, but also reducing waste to avoid water and land pollution, and putting a stop to deforestation and land degradation, further amplifying the phrase, reduce, reuse, recycle.
We see situations where we're now more conscious in country about our practices with respect to sustainability. Look at, for instance, the ban in Lagos, ban on plastics. That is a good move and is helping people readjust their lifestyles.
According to Bijan, sustainable living is not just a personal choice, but a collective responsibility that holds the key to preserving our planet for future generations through conscious decisions in our daily lives, whether it's reducing waste, conserving energy, or supporting eco-friendly initiatives. Reporting for News Central Lagos, I am Chamun Dabeng.
In the world of sports, the Handball Federation of Nigeria has announced that Umuahia, Abia State, will host the National Under-12 and Under-15 Handball Championship from March 18 to 25. Teams are expected to arrive within the first 2 days, with screening scheduled for March 19 to verify players' eligibility before matches commence on March 20. Meanwhile, the Federation has revealed that any team found fielding ineligible players will face sanctions, and only those who pass the screening will be allowed to compete. The winners and runners-up of the tournament will have the opportunity to represent Nigeria in future youth handball competitions as determined by the Federation. Ghana's Minister of Sports and Recreation, Kofi Adams, along with the Director General of the National Sports Authority, Yor Ampofo-Ankra, inspected the Accra Sports Stadium ahead of the Black Stars' crucial Matchday 5 qualifier against Chad. The inspection uncovered faulty floodlights and safety hazards, prompting urgent repair orders with a 48-hour deadline to meet CAF and FIFA standards. The Black Stars' 23-man squad will arrive in Accra on March 17 for training before facing Chad on March 21st. They will then travel to Morocco for their Matchday 6 encounter against Madagascar on March 24th at Stade Mimoun Al Arsi. Still talking sports, Neymar has been ruled out of Brazil's upcoming 2026 World Cup qualifiers against Colombia and Argentina due to a lingering thigh injury. The forward, who recently returned to Santos after a long injury layoff, had been recalled to the national team by coach Dorival Jr. However, concerns over his fitness forced the decision to sideline him. With Brazil struggling in 5th place in South American qualifiers, Neymar's absence is a blow to the squad. Real Madrid striker Endrick has been called up as his replacement. Brazil will face Colombia in Brasilia on March 20th before taking on arch-rivals Argentina in Buenos Aires on March 25th, aiming to strengthen their qualification campaign. Russian rising star Mira Andreeva made history as the first 17-year-old to reach the Indian Wells Women's Final since 2001, defeating defending champion Iga Swiatek in a thrilling semi-final. She extended her winning streak to 11 matches, bouncing back from a one-sided second set to secure victory in 3 sets. Andreeva, who recently won her first WTA 1000 title in Dubai, continues to impress with her resilience and skill. In the final, she will face top seed Aryna Sabalenka, who dominated Madison Keys in just 51 minutes. The Belarusian avenged her Australian Open loss to Keys, setting up a high-stakes showdown with the teenage sensation for the Indian Wells title. And that's all at this hour. But before we go, here's another look at some of our top stories. We told you that Niger Delta youths have written President Tinubu threatened oil production shutdown over Rivers' political crisis. We also told you that Dobayero Sanusi's camp have deferred on appeal court judgment over Kano emirship. Finally, you heard that South African government has denounced United States' decision to expel Ambassador Ibrahim Rasool. Send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do you follow us on social media? We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.